So today I wanted to talk about a book I recently read called Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is set to be released on the 3rd of May, so just tomorrow as of me filming this. So I wanted to give you guys a little idea of what this is about. If you've already read Beach Reads by Emily Henry or People We Meet on Vacation, then I think you're really going to enjoy this. Similar to those books, Emily Henry does a lot with playing with rom-com tropes and sort of turning them on their head, or maybe being a little more introspective about the root of these rom-coms, and this one is no different. The theme for this one she chooses is sort of the villainous woman we see a lot in rom-com movies, so that sort of city slicker woman. For some reason, she usually has blonde hair, and brunettes are always the innocent ones. So she plays with that as well. We are following Nora, who has the blonde hair. She's the city slicker. Men always break up with her because she doesn't necessarily prioritize them over herself or over her career. She doesn't drop everything on the whim of a man. So the kind of running joke in this is she lives in New York City and she's always dating guys that wind up going off for some reason, similar to a lot of like those Hallmark style movies. They go off into a small town, meet the local young lady, and falls in love with her because seemingly that young woman has nothing better to do than teach that city slicker how to love. So in this one, Nora is that sort of quote-unquote villainous woman, and that's our protagonist. She's happy in New York. She's happy with her career. She's happy to be rid of those guys, really. We see her not really mourn much about it. She doesn't have a lot of insecurities about these aspects of herself. In fact, she's quite proud of herself that she has a thriving career, and that these men seem intimidated by her lack of emotion or her lack of what they deem as insight into romance, but really it's just practicality, and something that does get heavily demonized with women in romantic fiction a lot. And Nora basically gets convinced by her sister Libby to go to this small town where one of Libby's favorite books is taken place in. Nora is an editor or a marketing director for a publishing firm. So one of her favorite writers wrote a book, and it's set in this small town. Nora and her sister decide to go there. Nora's not really excited to leave the big city, but kind of the only weakness she has is for her young sister Libby. And Libby is dying to go to kind of relive everything that she read in these books and go visit these really exciting sites. So she convinces her big sister to go. Once they get there, Nora is maybe not the happiest. There seems to be something going on with her younger sister, Libby, that she can't get to the bottom of, and Libby seems just hell-bent on keeping from her. So Nora's doing her best to keep Libby, who is now pregnant with her third child. She's doing her best to keep her sister's head above water while not suffocating her, because she's Miss Fix-It and always wants to be solution-oriented. She's trying to take her hands off the reins a little and just keep her sister happy for this time. And of course, she does meet Charlie, who is, I wouldn't qualify this as enemies to lovers, but she's had a couple of run-ins with Charlie before, and there is a sort of antagonistic quality about him that does get under her skin. So she does bump into him when she's in this small town, which is a really nice meet cute for two characters who have already met. So it was a lot of fun. The romance goes from there. Nora's story goes from there. I will say, in terms of a romance, it was really cute. I really liked the ending. I liked that it was a little bit different to what I'm used to seeing in romantic comedy style books. But that's Emily Henry to a T. It's why I find Beach Read I really enjoyed. There is a problem I usually have with her writing where communication in the most basic of sense would solve things. I didn't find that to be the case in this one. The two protagonists are very communicative with each other. The sisters tend to be as well. So it's more just realistic themes and practicality and how that can really kind of quash any sort of romance stemming when you have to be a little more practical about it. So I really enjoyed this. Again, this comes out May 3rd. So tomorrow, as you're watching this, I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it, had a great time with it. Nora really reminds me of one of my dear friends who I just moved away from. So it was kind of fun to see like her in a character, because I don't see women like this enough in romantic settings. I feel like this sort of female character is constantly in contemporary fiction. Just the stronger sort of focus, less emotional, less not in tune with their feelings, but just in terms of emotionality, they don't show it as much. So it was really cool to see in a romance where we're so reliant on these characters falling in love and these characters expressing themselves. It was fun to see a more stoic female in the protagonist spot. And Charlie was a great male lead, and I really liked the dynamic between the sisters, Nora and Libby. It was a lot of fun. Definitely enjoyed it. Has nice themes of family throughout it, which is similar to Emily Henry. It has domestic issues throughout it. Again, similar to Beach Read. So if you enjoyed that one especially, it's less like People We Meet on Vacation, leans more into Beach Read. So if that was a favorite of yours, I think this is definitely one you're gonna want to pick up, and I had a great time reading it. Thank you so much for watching, and that's just about all the thoughts I had on it. I'm interested to see how this one is going to what people are gonna think of it, because I feel like People We Meet on Vacation and Beach Reads is kind of split. Like, people seem to either like one or the other. There's not a ton of overlap. So I'm interested to see how this one, what people think once it sort of hits the shelves and the reviews start pouring in. But I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.